Hi, this is Steve. Welcome to the American Garage. Today, I'm going to announce our next project. This is a small project, and I wanted to tell you all about it. Our new project is to restore this old record player. It is a Voice of Music 563 model from 1959. So we're going to learn a little bit about restoring old electronics. Now, some of you may be wondering what's going on with the truck. Well, the truck is doing just fine. It's been running very well, and we will get back to the truck later on, do a paint job on it and some other things. But I thought we needed a small project to kind of shift our focus for a little while on something fun and simple and not quite as involved. So we're going to restore the Voice of Music record player. So this is a 1959 Voice of Music 563. Now, Voice of Music was one of the better brands in their day, and they made a lot of components and parts for other record player companies. It would not be uncommon to find a Voice of Music turntable in an RCA or a Zenith or one of the other brands. Now, the Voice of Music was known for their quality, and they have quite a following today, which is part of why I decided to buy a Voice of Music to fix up. Now, there are other brands out there. You can still find the RCAs and the Zeniths and GEs and a lot of other ones. But the reason I picked the Voice of Music was because they have quite a following and they have some support groups. So now that I decided on the brand that I wanted to restore, I went looking for one and I found this one, and I really like it. Once I restore it, it's gonna go into my lobby area in my offices, and we'll play records on it. And so I thought it'd be fun. Anyway, when I was doing my research, and I found at thevoiceofmusic.com this group called the Voice of Music Enthusiasts. And this guy Gary, he lives in the town where the factory was for the Voice of Music. Now, they shut down sometime in the 80s or so, and then in the 90s, the factory was going to be emptied out, and all of its contents were going to be brought to the junkyard. So he decided that he would go rescue as much of that stuff as possible, so we have a supply from the factory of extra parts, and also documentation that he picked up as well. So that's kind of a fun thing, and it also makes for a much easier restoration project. Now, this particular unit came with the mahogany finish. So let's talk about the woodworking side of the project for a minute. So it came in like 4 different finishes, and this was the mahogany finish. And you can see that it's pretty beat up, and there's some areas where it was where the finish is damaged. So I started looking into this just a little bit, and I got a good close look at it, and I noticed that in the places where the finish is damaged, if we look underneath, we can see that it's not the same kind of wood, and it's not mahogany underneath there. And so I got to looking at it really closely, and I noticed that the mahogany finish was really painted on top of another veneer. It looks like maybe maple or some kind of wood, light colored wood like that. And so it wouldn't be uncommon in those days to do a faux finish of some kind. So it's not in very good shape as far as the finish goes. It's not the same wood underneath, so you can't just strip it and revarnish it and get the same look. So one of the things I want to do is I thought about maybe, okay, why don't we strip this off and put a mahogany veneer and retain this look except with genuine wood instead of this painted on stuff. Now, I'm going to check with my friend Jennifer. She is an expert in antiquities and curator for museums, and she'll know a lot more about preserving the value of it. But, you know, at the end of the day, it's in pretty rough shape, and to make it look good will take considerable work. Now, and it won't look the same unless we do something like put an actual mahogany veneer on it. Now this unit came with legs, and I love the legs, and they're not on it right now. I've got it setting up on a stand there. But these legs they look like mahogany, but they're not. They're actually plastic or some kind of material that they used in the 50s. And it looks like mahogany, but they're plastic. Now, I did promise y'all that I would do some projects on the wood lathe, and maybe this would be a good thing. We could make some new legs out of mahogany for the record player. Anyway, stay tuned on that, and I'll look into it a little bit more. So we have some decisions to make with the woodwork, but that's not a big issue for me, and we'll get back to that later on. Let's look at the electronics and see what we have to deal with. Now, the first thing is we've got the record player itself. So that's going to be a big culprit. Usually what happens with these things is the lubricants that have in it get all dried up, and the thing gets stuck, and it won't work like it's supposed to work. Okay, so I've got the unit plugged in, and I want to show you what it does right now. And it doesn't do a whole lot. I've got it turned on, and I'll turn the record player on. The record starts turning, the arm lifts, comes over to the record. Then it puts the arm, it doesn't come over to the record, it just lifts up, goes back down, and turns itself back off. So there's obviously some problems within the mechanism of the record changer itself. So the first thing to do is we're going to get that working. So we'll go through the turntable and make sure that everything's lubricated and working correctly. Next, we will tackle the amplifier. Now, before we go any further, I want to show you that I got all this documentation from Gary at the Voice of Music and Audio Enthusiasts group. And he has all that original documentation from the factory. And he sent me all this information. So we've got different parts lists. We've got a personal troubleshooter chart. We've got the service manual and parts list, which will come in very handy for our turntable. And then we've got a basic record changer restoration guide. And so this is probably the first thing that we'll use. Then we have the service manual and parts list for the whole unit. We also had the service manual and parts list just for the turntable, and this is for the entire unit. And then also, he had sent me, along with it, this information about the Voice of Music high fidelity amplified speaker. because what they would do, since this was not a stereo unit, is you would buy one of these external speakers if you wanted to turn it into a stereo. Well, let me tell you something about that. 1959 was the year that stereo records came out. So, the record players weren't stereo. Voice of Music knew that this was going to be happening, and the turntable in here is actually a stereo turntable. And it has a switch on it that you can switch between mono and stereo. But since it's just a mono amplifier, it doesn't do any good. Unless you buy that external speaker and hook it up, which is what they did. So later on, stereo units came out. But this was the very first year of stereo. So this is how it was done at the very beginning. And I thought it might be fun. Maybe we'll find one of those amplified speaker units that we could fix up and put along with it. Join us next time on the American Garage, where we'll work on the turntable unit. Thanks everybody, and we'll see you next time right here on the American Garage. Thanks for watching the American Garage. If you liked this video, hit the like button and leave your comments below. And don't forget to subscribe.